Salutations, viewers. Heath at Gaming in Gotham. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the system Fantasy Age. Some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may be not. I'll wager that a vast majority of you, unfortunately, are not. So hopefully I can enlighten you and encourage you to check out this great new system. Now, before I dive straight into that, I want to give a brief history on where it came from. So, maybe you kind of know where we're at today. If you're familiar with the games Dragon Age, which I'm sure a lot of you are, that is where the age system came from. So BioWare and Chris Pramas at Green Ronin got together and basically decided that they were going to do a tabletop RPG, Dragon Age, based on the Dragon Age games. So they came up with the age system, which is a great system in my opinion. However, it did not get a lot of really good reviews. The opinions of it were just not exactly overwhelmingly positive, which I don't think is completely fair, because now I can't say this for a fact, but I feel a lot of the people who took interest in the games were people coming from the video game and probably didn't have a whole lot of experience with tabletop RPGs and perhaps had slightly biased views or opinions on it. When in all reality, it's actually a pretty damn good system. So they released it in 3 sets, which I think was a huge error on their part because the time in which it took them to release them was not exactly doing them any favors. Set 1 came out in 2010, which took you from levels 1 to 5 with a couple pre-built Avengers in the back. Set 2, which took you from level 6 to 10. Set 1 was 1 to 5. Set 2 is 6 to 10. Came out in 2012. And then a staggering 3 years later, Set 3 was released in 2014, early 2015 perhaps, which took you from 11 to 20. That's a long time to wait for a couple damn levels. That's just poor planning, poor production on their part. However, some of you may know Will Wheaton. He's got a show called Tabletop. At one point, he had Chris Pramas on, who GM'd and ran a game of Dragon Age. Will Wheaton loved the game, the system, and began working on his own setting, Titan's Grave, The Ashes of Valakanis, which was modeled for the age system. So Chris Pramas and Will Wheaton got together and looked for a way to take the age system and turn it, breathe some life into it, give it a fresh start. And that is where Fantasy Age comes into play. They took the system from Dragon Age and just repurposed it into its own standalone system. No longer, synonymously, thought of, with Dragon Age, which was smart on their part, in my opinion, because they had something good and just didn't really do well with it and what they had. Now, I'm not saying that the Dragon Age game is bad. It's full of lore. Fans of the game could appreciate it for all the different lore and things in it. Especially if you're a fan of tabletop RPGs, there's just there's a ton of fun to be had in it, and really explore the world of Thetis. So, moving on, Will Wheaton ran a little mini campaign on Geek and Sundry with his system. Basically became the poster boy for Fantasy Age, which I think was brilliant because it brought a lot of attention to the system, got some spotlight on it, which is great, as I feel it's deserving of it. So that brings us around to, again, Fantasy Age. The first thing I'd like to say, I wish I had a better camera so you could really see that cover art, because it is absolutely gorgeous from cover to cover. Here's a shot of the back. The art's great, so absolutely no complaints there. Price tag, can't really beat it. $29.99. That's $30 for 142 pages of content, which is about $20 cheaper than most of its competitors. Like the juggernauts of the industry, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder. I'm not saying that they're not fun RPGs. I'm just saying that, well, they're $20 more expensive than Fantasy Age. There's not a lot of fluff in it, which is to be expected because it wasn't designed with any particular genre or setting in mind. It's the rules, how to use the rules, how to adapt the rules, and just it goes over all the rules, and character creation and things of the sort. So the pros of the system are the unique dice mechanic, which I absolutely adore. I'm not going to get too in depth about it. I'll save that for another video because I plan on releasing some more videos about Fantasy Age. However, the dice mechanic is 3d6 instead of your typical d20, which a lot of systems, more popular systems, use and people are accustomed to. And it has a stunt mechanic, which is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I've never seen anything like it in any other RPG, not that I can recall. And it allows you to have more interesting interactions or options in combat, exploration, role play, and for mages, spells. So that's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. The system itself is also pretty damn easy to understand and learn. When you look at it side by side with something like D&D or Pathfinder, it's just a night and day difference in terms of understanding the rules and grasping how these modifiers and numbers and dice are meant to be used. Someone who's not familiar with the system can get a fairly firm grasp in about 30 minutes of how the game works. Now, I'm not saying they'll be a rules master, but they'll definitely be able to play the game and do so with some competence. Any seasoned player will pick up on it even faster. And I know this because I've actually ran the game 2 or 3 times with a couple players who have never touched it, never read the book, nothing. And in about that time frame, they had a pretty competent idea of how things work. The system itself lends itself pretty easily to homebrew and customization options, which is nice because that kind of goes in tandem with one of the cons that I'll touch on in a minute, because it'll allow you to whip up some stuff that might not be there that you'd like to have in the game for your character, or what have you, to really bring a concept to life. Really nail down this idea you've had in your head. The character creation is simple. You can knock that out in 30 minutes or less, likely less once you really know, what you're doing. Um, However, its deceptive simpleness um, will likely lead you to believe initially that, the characters are so straightforward, they're pigeonholed, blah, 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 blah. They're not. Let me tell you right now, they're not. There's quite a few options through talents, focuses, and specializations for all three character classes, the mage, the rogue, and the warrior, that you can really bring a concept together. You can really kind of fine tune and tweak your character to that ideal image that you've had in your head, which will whet the appetite of someone who comes from a system like say Pathfinder, who just has a plethora of customization options. Now, I'm not saying it has nearly as many. It doesn't, but more than you would suspect. More options than you would think for bringing a character together, and pairing that with homebrew. It's just fantastic, fantastic. So on to the cons. One thing that really kind of bugged me about it, and perhaps this is me being a little nitpicky, but eh, well, it's something that could have been taken care of. There were a few grammatical errors in the book as well as the PDF. Now, the PDF was available about a month or so, maybe a little more than before the hard copy came out. And there was a forum on the Green Room website dedicated to the grammatical errors, where other people who had the PDF went through this and pointed out, listed page by page, the word, etc., what was wrong, what needed fixed, and it went into print, and there's still some of that in there. That's kind of a no-no. It happens, I suppose. I can understand if the book was already in print shortly after the PDF came out, and at that point, there's really nothing they could do to fix the errors other than, reprint and lose money in the process. But there's going to be a second printing of the books, and hopefully those are fixed in that printing. I would assume so. If not, shame on you. The other thing about the system so far that is a con, and again, this just could be me being a little nitpicky. It probably is, but there could be more options. There is, again, like I said, there is a respectable amount in here so far, and in fairness, the new release of the system, Fantasy Age, hasn't been out too long. It hasn't even been out a year. Hardly, not even 6 months, I don't think. But at 142 pages, they could have. I feel like they could have easily included a few more pages of specializations, a few more pages of talents, and the Dragon Age material. It was right there, right for the picking. Now, you can take the other age material that's out there, Dragon Age sets 1 through 3, Midgard, Bestiary, Midgard campaign setting, and a few of the other age supplements out there, and convert them for use in the new Fantasy Age fairly simply. Only a few things were changed to make the new system. But that does require that you as the GM or potential player be willing to put in the work and effort to do so. And unfortunately, a lot of them aren't. So yeah, there's that. However, Blue Rose, some of you may be familiar with, has recently been like re-released on Kickstarter. It's been back and it's supposed to be in production for the 8 system. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Really excited about. So yeah, some more options would have been nice, but that's where the whole homebrew thing kind of, like I mentioned earlier, comes in. You have the ability, if you're again willing to take the time and make the stuff yourself and try to do so in a balanced manner to add and make all those options yourself. I, for one, have been plan on continuing to do so and have been converting stuff from the other systems for use in Fantasy Age. So I'm hoping to have that done here soon. That's something you can look for on my WordPress if you're interested. gaminggotham@wordpress.com. But for now, that's mostly everything that I have to say about it that I feel is worth mentioning to someone who maybe is not familiar with the system or is just looking to get a little bit more insight into it. Oh, how could I forget? Silly me. The system is not tied down to any one genre. So that's something else out there, that other systems don't do. You could play Fantasy Age just as easily in low magic medieval Europe as you could in steampunk, 1800 Victorian era, high fantasy, Star Wars type stuff, cyberpunk, Shadowrun type stuff. The only work that really has to be done on the players and the GM's part is having a bit of imagination, which I would hope that you do if you're playing tabletop RPGs. If you don't, yeah. So it's as simple as taking a longsword. Oh man, now it's a non-copyright infringing beam sword. Oh, high fantasy or high sci-fi kind of stuff. Take my black powder pistol and it shoots laser beams now. But the laser beams, you don't have to reload after one shot. They have a clip. Give the damn thing a clip and reload it when the clip's out. Done. It was that fucking simple. So you can really bring this to almost any type of genre, any type of setting. While it might not be for everybody, there are going to be people out there, undoubtedly, that are like, oh, Shadowrun's the best thing for cyberpunk, or there's nothing will ever do horror as good as Cthulhu, and blah blah freaking blah. Well, you may be right. You might be wrong. That's your opinion. You're entitled to that. But that doesn't mean that the system can't do it and can't be fun while doing it and offer new options, new things that those systems don't give you while doing it. So at the very least, it's worth a shot. So before you start formulating any biased opinions towards another system and why this won't be able to do it as good as that system, why don't you try it first and then let me know what you think. So go out, do yourself a favor, pick up Fantasy Age by Green Ronin. Our newest thing currently in production. It's worth the money, totally worth the investment, and you hopefully will not regret it. I know I didn't, and I'm looking forward to more supplements. I'm looking forward to making more homebrew, world building, and things of the sort. And I'm super excited and looking forward to bringing you guys more videos about the system and different things about it. I'll be talking about the dice mechanic. I'll be talking about the talent system. I will also be talking about specializations and other things you could do to adapt the system to another genre. So that's all I have for now. I look forward to doing these other videos. I hope anybody watching enjoyed or found interesting, intriguing, insightful, or anything positive in that manner of what I had to say of the Fantasy Age system. And I hope you guys go out, get it, play it. I'd love to talk to you about it and hear your thoughts and opinions on it. So that's all for me. This has been Heath Wanamaker, aka Gaming in Gotham at YouTube and at WordPress. Check me out there. Maybe subscribe, leave a like, and I'll be having some more stuff for you in the future. Take care.